following 4 Aces production is for mature audiences only. Listener discretion is highly advised.
Yo, what's up, y'all? It is K Double here with Alpha. How you doing,
sir.
my friend?
Back again once again with your weekly weekend episode of the Cheap Pop motherfucking podcast.
Damn right. Are we already starting with the motherfuckers? All right, motherfuckers. But great. I've actually talked about it 4 different times at work this week, or 3 different times at Home Depot. I've actually talked about Snakes on a Plane and just how great that movie was. I am sick and motherfucking tired of these motherfucking snakes on this motherfucking plane. Samuel L. Jackson at his comedic best. But anyway, so we had told you we were doing a persistent thing called Remember His Name, or a series called Remember His Name. And each week we would be reviewing a different Chadwick Bozeman film. Well, unfortunately, I didn't find the time to watch the second movie we chose, which is Get On Up, before last week's episode. So we will be doing that with the opening this week. So, Chadwick Bozeman, man, there's not really much you can say about him as an actor that's bad. Like, the man transformed himself. Like, I'm looking forward to when we eventually get around to the one where he's Thurgood Marshall.
Yeah.
Like, after watching him as Jackie Robinson and now watching him as James Brown, I can definitely say I am definitely looking forward to that transformation. This man enveloped himself in characters in a way that you rarely ever see. So,
yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. Like, the best part about the movie, in my opinion, is how you see him go noticeably from looking a lot like Chadwick Boseman and progressively more and more into the icon, the legend, James Brown.
Yep.
And especially because I'm a lot younger, and I personally only know one visage of James Brown, and that was the much older one.
Yeah.
It was a lot cooler for me to see Chadwick Boseman come into that image specifically, especially in the ending scene with the final latter half of the movie, which is fucking amazing.
Oh.
But it comes down to him looking incredibly spot on to it, which is obviously the fucking goal, but they did an amazing job at it. For me, it was also about Chadwick Boseman's voice. I don't know about you, but it's you hear James Brown and it's instantly like, oh, that's James fucking Brown.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to miss his voice.
Oh, yeah.
And he had a very specific speech pattern, and Chadwick Boseman managed to nail that fucking perfectly, in my opinion.
You know what it reminded me of? If you've ever seen the movie with Jamie Foxx as, is it Jamie Foxx? Yeah. As Ray Charles?
I have not.
You have not seen Ray? Oh my God, we got to put that on the list to review. You must see that movie.
We'll do that.
No,
do
I
that
did. Yeah, but the man basically lived with Ray Charles for 3 months to get down his mannerisms, his speech patterns, how the man talked, how he sounded when he said this, how he sounded when he said that. And I will tell you, the man crushed it. Beyond crushed it. Because at the end of the day, he was Ray Charles. By the end of the movie, he was Ray. And so I felt kind of the same thing like you're saying with Chadwick Boseman in this movie and Get On Up. Like, by the end of the movie, he was James Brown. He had the voice, he had the buffet, he had everything he needed to be James Brown. Now, where he got me was some of the moments where he did things like the scene when he goes off on the band and he's telling the dude to play off tempo from the rest of the band. And once again, it's Craig Robinson. He was that antagonist for us against the good guy James Brown. Uh, he's telling me like, James, like, dude, that's gonna put him off beat with the rest of the band. And James is like, but if it sound good, what's the problem? Basically, to summarize, like, there's a whole speech that goes into it. You have to watch the movie to see. And Alpha knows what I'm talking about. There's a whole speech that goes into it. But basically, his whole thing is, do it sound good though? Like, if it sound good, then what's the problem? What's the problem if he's a little offbeat? What's the problem if he ain't right there with the rest of the band? If it sound good, and he started, and so it was just scenes like that. It's kind of like with
oh, wait, hold up. You forgot the best part.
What's that?
Where they go through and they do exactly what he says, and then they all immediately realize that he was right.
He was right, yeah. Yes. And that was the whole thing about it. It's guys like that, and don't get me wrong, I hate to jump like that, but I'll finish that statement. Guys like that, you come to realize that they truly are musical geniuses. Like they hear music in a different way. Here's what I would always tell people when I was at my when I was at my most annoying, my douchiest. If you've ever watched Heroes, in the fourth season of Heroes, they introduce a woman whose power is she can see sound. Like she just sees sound waves in different colors.
Mm.
And I've always thought, for people that were musical geniuses like Beethoven, like people ask, like, how could Beethoven learn to play? Of course, we all understand it's probably vibrations, but I always like to think that they see music a little differently than everybody else. Mm-hmm. Like they see the vibrations, and that's what I think it was with James Brown. He just saw it. He saw it a little bit differently than everybody else.
Mm-hmm. It's like that part later in the movie when the reporter is questioning him, and I believe when she's like, define the funk, and he's like, the funk isn't something you can define; it's something you feel.
Yes,
and I see what you mean. Like I see that they built up and hammered through the idea that James Brown was someone that just felt it and was able to work with it, and he was just that was his shit.
And I also like the part where she is the same one, and the nice lady is interviewing him, and she goes and she like asks him the what's the funk, and he like he tries to explain it, and then she goes, so what's your favorite food? And he's like, Birdie, tell him what we eat tonight. And he just gets up and walks away like you stupid. Like I need to get up and walk away before I say something I'm gonna regret. Tell this woman what we eat.
Handle this for me.
Like James Brown didn't have no calm. Like how do you say? James Brown didn't have no. What do they call it? Yeah,
for James Brown.
Yeah, that voice that you use when you want to be nice to somebody, but you really are telling them to go off. Your customer service voice is what they call it. So
yeah.
It's one of those type of things where you got to see a side of James Brown that we really didn't get to see in the public. Like, I have forgotten about the fact that James Brown, like, when in 88, I would have been about 11 years old at that point, James Brown decided that James Brown was going to, because, what was it, who was it that had died? It was Dan Aykroyd's character, his first record producer, the guy that was working with him, when he passed away. Yeah, he smoked up some fucking speed or coke with some fucking weed and went on a ride. Was just and I was telling my friend, we were sitting there watching it. I was like, that's when you know you high. That fool looked in his rearview mirror and told the police, "Y'all get on now." Just kept driving. Like you
fucking
think,
gunning it.
you know, you gotta be gone out your head to think that yelling that at the police is gonna get them to go away. Y'all get on now.
Oh no 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 no
uh,
no 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 wait! You forgot the best part. The
well,
fact that he was running from the police because he walked into his dealership
yeah.
and thought the ceiling was a 12 gauge because someone took a shit in the bathroom in his dealership. You forgot the
Oh,
best part.
that is amazing. Like James Brown was just that dude. Like just that dude. Like and it didn't matter. Like and that's where I say that I truly appreciate um, that movie for what it was because it showed you that James Brown was an amazing singer. But that dude was whoo that dude did on his worst day what we couldn't imagine to do on our best. And that's just how it is. Like it just truly is.
100%.
But definitely a movie worth watching. A Chadwick Bozeman film that will leave you with your jaw on the floor, not just because of what it does to you visually, but emotionally. That scene at the end of the movie when he invites his father to come see him perform, or is it his dad, or was it his, or was
No, no,
it?
no, that was Bird. Bird and his wife ended up coming to the show.
Yeah, and he sang that. He sang that. Oh, that was amazing. That he did that a cappella and just
Yes.
yeah. And James,
Yeah,
James was like a voice from heaven. This is gonna be weird to say because I would say Little Richard was probably, which that was another great scene, was the scene between them and him and Little Richard at the hot dog shop.
Yeah, I was gonna say that was. I'd say confident that was probably my favorite scene in the whole movie. How like they steal this show, and then after the fact, he walks up to them, and he's like, "Who are you?" And he's like, "Famous Flames." And Little Richard's like, "No, no, who are you?"
Exactly.
Like you specifically. And then after the fact, he's talking about how good he is and how like all the things that he's done so far. And then he's like, "And I'm still flipping fucking burgers."
Yeah.
It's the best fucking shit.
Oh man. No, my favorite one was when they gave him the car, and the car with the driver. He's like, "How much they paying you?" And dude's like, $600 a month. He like, "All right, look, that should be enough to get you through a couple months. Go drive yourself." like, I don't know. Nah, I don't need nobody. I don't need nobody driving me around. I can drive myself around. We all good on that. But just that scene cracked me up, man. Left me like, damn, James motherfucking Brown. That's what I was waiting to hear. James motherfucking Brown.
Yeah, looking around. I liked. I also really liked how in the beginning, when they're showing the scene where he was flying to Vietnam, and he looks down at the pilot and he says, "Ain't nobody gonna shoot us down." And the pilot's like, "What?" And then James Brown, without even looking at the pilot, is just like, "I stopped breathing. And no, it was I was born dead." And then James Brown took a breath. And then they, like at first it sounds like some badass Chuck Norris level joke, right?
Yeah.
And then you find out later in the movie from on fucking the chick that would go on to race and
Yeah.
on some, and she sits him down and she tells him straight up like, "No, you were born stillborn, and the doctor gave you one big push and you finally took your first breath." And that was, in my opinion, that was one of the dopest fucking little seeds of some foreshadowing leading into something really fucking cool.
Yeah. And also that was a pretty deep scene with his mom too. Like where
Yeah.
he was just like, "Look, I know what you're here for. Here, take this. Get out. I don't want nothing to do with you no more. Bye." And
then
that
still after the fact, he's like, "Make sure she's taken care of."
yep. He was a good man in his own way. Like he had his flaws just like everyone else. You know, I've come to find in watching these movies recently over the past few months, I've watched the Elton John one, I've watched the Bohemian Rhapsody, Rocket Man, and
Both I
now
recommend those to anyone. Those are fucking amazing movies.
yeah, and I've watched now Get On Up, and all three told. I felt they told the story well. Yeah, and that's what made it worth watching to me in the sense of like it just. I was happy I sat down and watched that movie last night. It made me smile.
Yeah, overall, a really good movie, and I feel like a lot of the time America has a very big problem with glorifying celebrities and or putting them on a pedestal that is much, much higher than that of any normal person.
Yep.
And so I'm always happy when movies like these show that they are human beings with genuine faults and genuine fuck-ups.
Exactly.
It's always a thing that I find much more compelling and much more human, not as entertainment value, but as presentation, that celebrities are much closer to us and people than we could know.
And that's the key point to it is the fact that yeah, you're right. Like they are in the reality, they're a lot closer to us than what we think. Now I've always said this: the only difference between me and most celebrities is about $1 million in my bank account. And that's really what it boils down to. Is it's just like. But you know, I like to stunt. You know, I like to go out and have fun. You know, but at the end of the day, the difference between me and them is they got the money to do it when they want, and I can do it about once every 5 years when I can afford it. Um, but at the end of the day, you're right. All three of these movies portrayed these people as humans, as people who, despite their flaws, still manage to do good things in life. Because let's be honest, Ray Charles, uh, Elton John, flipping Johnny Cash, yeah, that's another one. Ring of Fire is another good movie.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like they once again they portrayed these people as the humans that they were, but portrayed them also in the sense that it showed that despite this adversity, despite these flaws, they still managed to bring us years and countless hours of good feelings and smiles and fun and so on and so forth, just being themselves to an extent. You know,
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you. That's why I enjoy artists. A lot of people don't enjoy artists like Eminem because the things that he says aren't exactly, let's just say, the nicest, to put it lightly. Okay.
At face value, it's a bit intense.
Right. But
and I say this as someone who owns every single Eminem album. No fucking joke.
I'm like, but hearing the man's story, seeing how he did what he did, and then listening to his lyrics again, once again, just thoroughly impressed. Thoroughly impressed with him and who he is, and him as a musician. And so because of that, I will pretty much anything he puts out, I'll listen to. And I'll critique it honestly. Either it'll suck or it'll be pretty damn good. Most of it's been pretty damn good.
So sometimes we get a shit. What was the one before Kamikaze?
Relapse.
Sometimes we go. No, was it Relapse or
I
was
don't
it
remember.
Revival?
I think it might have been Revival. Yeah, you're right. Revival.
Yeah, that was Revival. Sometimes we get a Kamikaze, other times we get something like Revival.
Well, if you listen to him on the one on the track, Not Afraid, he admits that the Relapse album was kind of wasn't that good. Like he openly talks about it, you know.
Yeah, he admits that he half-assed it.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's just one of those type of things where people have to understand that you have to just kind of appreciate things in the moment. And right now, man, I am appreciating Chadwick Bozeman because he is something that I don't think we are going to see again in our lifetime.
Yeah. After at least like we're 2 movies in, and I'm already getting a pretty good understanding that 1, I missed out on a lot of good fucking movies, and 2, he has the same level of passion for all of his works. It looks like he seems to dump his absolute soul into the characters that he portrays and the characters that he symbolizes. And I am noticing that, of course, there is a common theme in Chadwick Boseman movies that it usually has to do with some form of socio-political statement.
Right.
That all end the same way, usually with, like, be smart and represent your people peacefully and represent them well, and you're going to do right by the world. No. And it's always cool to see that message in almost every single movie that that he has a character in, a very, very, very main lead character in. He has that same sort of theme in all of them. And it's really cool because you see them in each different type of movie, despite they are blaringly different fucking genres of movies that he's created.
And they are, like, for just the two that we've watched, 42 and Get On Up. Two completely different set pieces. Kind of, though, like, well, James Brown came way after. Well, no, he was 1933. Yeah, James Brown performing career came because Jackie Robinson was 44. So James Brown would have been a little kid watching James Brown perform. Or watching Jackie Robinson perform.
I was going to say Jackie Robinson was around World War II, either during or right before, and then Brown was Vietnam.
But the thing about it was funny to me because you definitely see two different Americas. Because in James Brown's situation, like, you could tell, like, there was one specific scene that pointed this out. But there's a scene when James Brown is, is dancing and he's doing a Christmas special. And you start seeing him, like, look around and he's starting to slow down and you're starting to realize, wait a minute. Why am I sitting here performing for and just shucking and jiving for all these white people? Like, I could be performing down in Harlem, down in Brooklyn. This is
not my element.
This is not my element. Exactly. And there's that moment where like, you just kind of look around and it's like, but also you look at the time in which the time frame or the time within America in which he was at, that's where the money was at. If you could shuck and jive and make the white people smile, you could make yourself some good money. And he was trying to provide for his family.
And then you see that come into a conflict in the latter half of the movie again.
Yep.
He gets to the point where he's like, so if I go and I meet the president, they're all going to call me a kiss ass and they're going to tell me that I'm sucking up to the man. But I can't say no to the president. They're not going to let me perform in Vegas again. So what do I do?
Mr. Brown, his life was during a different time in this world. Mm-hmm. Now somebody could say no to the president and get away with it and probably even gain some popularity.
Mm-hmm.
But back then, he's right. You could lose sponsors because it would look very unpatriotic to not go and talk to the president.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Different time, my friend. Different time.
Mm-hmm. It told a lot of interweaving stories like that in and out. And I quite enjoyed that it weaved in and out of different points of his life. At first, it was a little bit confusing.
Yeah.
But they had a lot of timestamps to make sure it was all in place, and all the subliminal messaging with him going out of being a kid again to focus on how he feels like he did back then was something that I found really fucking cool.
I was going to say, yes, there were a lot of moments in which they did that, in which they connected a moment from his childhood to something that was going on right now, or used the moment from his childhood to transition from one point to another point in his life. Like you said, the interweaving. It reminded me of Pulp Fiction. If you aren't paying attention and you aren't following the stamps, you can kind of lose yourself because one moment he's in his 20s and he's performing on stage, and the next moment he's 11 and he's being beaten by his dad, and it's like they jump back and forth without really any warning. But if you're watching, you see how they connect the moments, how everything kind of connects to something else. And I love how at the very end you got everybody through the chronology or through the entire story, the story timeline was clapping James Brown, James Brown, James Brown. Like that part really got me.
Yeah, it's really cool because at that point, they harken back to the scene from the very first scene of the movie, which is him walking down that hallway.
Right.
And then at that point, it's so much cooler considering all those people that are clapping. Most of those characters are actually dead by that point in the story, which in its own way is sad, but is really fucking cool.
It was a great way to bring it back. Kind of reminds me of with Hamilton. They use a particular device where everybody is dead at the beginning. Everybody except for the man narrating the play, which is Aaron Burr, is dead at the beginning, and they're all wearing white. And then they go from all wearing white to wearing various colors throughout, as they're told through the story, to going back to at the end all wearing white, because now the characters have all died throughout the course of the play. And those little like mechanisms always get me.
Yeah, that's some good storytelling devices. All of it. They had I didn't really get to say it either to this point, but I personally love the cinematography. I love the camera angles that this movie had, weaving in and out of using the camera as a legitimate screen and a fourth wall for James Brown to narrate from maybe 2 or 3 times in the movie, I believe. And then other times you see it move around really well during the car chase scene. You see it move in and out of the windshield through his side mirror and then up to his rear view mirror before it gets shot out, which is a really cool shot. And then they use those shots to even more show you how he's feeling, especially in the part that you talked about before, where he's on that massive drug trip and he's on the fucking road, beelining it. He's sweating, he's breathing hard. They get that fisheye lens and they zoom in, and suddenly it looks a lot more intense and a lot more scary, and you can almost feel how much he's freaking the fuck out in this moment.
Oh yeah. But y'all get back now, you hear? Sorry, that will always get me because because the first thought that came to my mind is how fucking high do you have to be to think that just telling the cops to go away is really gonna make them go away? I always have this. Pardon me for tangenting here, but it always takes me back to Cheech and Chong. It always takes me back to Cheech and Chong when Cheech is sitting there and they didn't hotbox that car. And the cops come up and they're knocking and they're all crouched down in the car and it's obvious the cop can see him. And he's like, I hear you knocking, but you can't come in. And he's like sitting there. It was just one of those moments for me. Like, I was just like, why would you? Yeah, you got to be kind of high beyond high to say some shit like that. You just have to be.
Higher than motherfucking pigeon tits.
Pretty much. But all right, so. Get On Up is definitely a movie that we obviously both recommend. So, I guess Marshall would be the next movie then?
Yeah, let's do Thurgood Marshall.
All right. So, sometime within the next 2 weeks, we'll go on ahead and watch and review Thurgood Marshall. Chadwick Bozeman is Thurgood Marshall there. All right. So, one quick subject before we jump on over to the wrestling and get this done with. Sam Jackson. Just want to make that announcement. Give a big round of applause. He will be joining us on Disney Plus as Nick Fury in the Nick Fury television show on Disney Plus. So I'm a happy man now. I can't be more happy for the fact that we're actually going to get Sam Jackson instead of just somebody else playing Nick Fury. So there we go. It
was always like. For me, at least, it was really heartbreaking to see that Spider-Man Tom Holland only has when he signed that deal, he had 2 movies left at the time, right? And by that point, they were just like, oh, Sam Jackson for sure is literally only doing 2 movies, as in this is the final 2 he signed for all the way back in 2008. Like, this is fucking it for him.
Right.
Personally, that for me hit a little bit harder because I'm a diehard Sam Jackson fan. Like, I have seen Pulp Fiction and every single Tarantino movie backwards, sideways, upside down, and in multiple languages. And so I'm a big fan of that big glass of Sam Jackson juice. And so seeing him in a show, still in the character of Nick Fury, is fucking perfect. And I hope that I can anticipate that he's going to have an important role, much like Coulson. And I look forward to that sort of role. You know what I mean?
Yep, definitely. So, Sam Jackson, thank you very much for giving us, 10 years of Nick Fury on the big screen, and however many years you decide to give us of Nick Fury on the small screen. I will appreciate you for the amazing actor that you are, my friend.
Tired of these goddamn snakes on this motherfucking planet.
I tell you, man. I tell you.
Never gets old.
Never fucking gets old.
All right. Flip it.
Yep, so we'll go ahead and take our first commercial break. We're going to keep it short for as far as the pop culture. We got a lot more stuff to talk about, but we just moved it to next week, so y'all be sure to listen to next week's episode. Because this week, the rest of this week's episode is going to be dedicated to the WWE pay-per-view coming on in a couple hours.
World Federation.
Yeah. I'll say that's coming on in a few hours, Clash of Champions. So, yeah. We'll catch you soon. You're listening to the Cheap Pop Podcast right here on the 4Aces Presents Radio Network. Spreaker.com, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and wherever you may find your favorite podcasts.
Hey listener, Dutch here from Voice from the Underground, the podcast. My co-host and I want to invite you to check out our little corner of the podcast verse. At Voice from the Underground, we talk about all the crazy happening around us and try to make a little bit of sense out of the nonsense with little to no results. If the idea of hearing 3 semi-intelligent, outspoken nerds talk about politics, social issues, current events, sports, movies, pretty much anything that we decide to talk about because, well, it's our show, appeals to you, grab your shovel and come on down to the underground, and then consult a qualified psychotherapist. Find us wherever you get your podcasts, just not where you buy your weed.
Voice from the Underground.
So, what's up? Steve Fingerstyles here, the host of the podcast, spelled DA, of course. Tune in each and every week to hear what pisses me off, what angers me, what I make fun of, and of course, my crazy rants. I also have incompetent co-hosts, cool guests, and a silent producer that sucks. So what more do you need from a podcast? You can listen on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, SoundCloud, and the Pod Bros Network. Peace.
From the galactic depths of the comic book universe comes the ghosts of the stratosphere, ready to galvanize and energize your mind with the latest of comic book news and reviews. And why are you stopping me? Yes, that's much better. Hi, this is Andy Larson for Ghosts of the Stratosphere. Join me every week along with my co-hosts Rob Stewart and Chad Smith, as well as a cavalcade of fantastic comic book guests, as we dish out heaping helpings of the greatest and latest of comic book news and reviews. New shows posted every Tuesday with bonus shows every first Friday of the month. You can find us on iTunes and Stitcher under Ghosts of the Stratosphere, as well as on our website, www.gotstratosphere.com. Hope to see you soon, folks.
Hello. We are back here to talk some wrestling with you. All right, some wrestling with you. So let me see if I can pull up this Clash of Champions card while you give us a little bit of a overtake of what happened on NXT this week.
Fuck yeah, I'm on it. Alright, so if I'm not mistaken, the show began with a pretty big women's battle royal match. I believe Candice LeRae was the only one that ended up getting an actual entrance. By the time the cameras came on, everyone was already in there. And you'll notice that this week's NXT actually has no crowd at all, not even the usual other NXT workers, the lower card members that they usually have in the crowd. There was none of that this time, not even that, because I don't know if you heard, but there was another COVID outbreak over the last few weeks.
Yes, I
so
did hear
they
about
are
that.
playing it. Yeah, so they're playing it really, really fucking safe this week. And you could tell because there's no fucking crowd, and all of the crowd noise seems to be edited in, as far as I can tell.
Yeah.
But it started off with a pretty big women's battle royal match. It came down to most of the big faces in NXT because, as you know, NXT doesn't have the biggest women's division. Casey Catanzaro, Ricochet's girlfriend, and the previous Ninja Warrior winner had a really cool showing. She had like her little John Morrison style parkour moment. Actually, 3 of them. She got knocked off 3 different times, and all 3 of those different times she managed to catch herself and not fall off, which was pretty fucking cool.
Nice.
He ended up with another face-off between Rhea Ripley and the larger Mexican woman that is following Dakota Kai around, the one that's like 6'7".
Renee Gonzalez.
Yes.
Renee Gonzalez, yes. He said the big bitch.
Yes. The big bitch.
She is, though. She only looks normal size standing next to Rhea Ripley. Other than that, she looks huge.
She is fucking massive. It was a really cool little face-off, though. But it did ended up coming down to Shotzi Blackheart and Candice LeRae. And as you can imagine, I was through the fucking roof for Shotzi Blackheart.
Shotzi.
Candice LeRae took it home at the last minute and threw her off and took it all home.
Boo. Boo,
And then out of nowhere, they exactly shit heel. Candice LeRae is a great wrestler, but I'm sorry, she's a natural face and should stay as such.
A face, yes.
Like I love Gargano and I love Candice LeRae to death. I think they're both amazing fucking workers. Like when Candice LeRae wrestles men, you usually really get really fucking great matches. No. That being said, they are both natural faces, and the heel gimmicks they have for them now are okay at best, in my opinion.
Oh man, it's one of the weak points for NXT that Candice LeRae is trying this whole bad girl thing because it's really not a good look or a good feel for her, like at all.
Yeah, it's really not. I hate. I don't know about you, but I hate when they turn someone heel just by making them walk to the entrance without any expression, and they just add like some pianos to their theme, and they just fucking. It feels artificial. It feels like they're literally stamping a big logo onto them that says, "Look, I'm a heel." Like, nah, don't tell me, show me.
Exactly, like what they're doing with Roman Reigns, dude. This slow roll into the heeldom is I'm loving it, bro. Like, yeah, he jumped into it when he did what he did with the Fiend and all that, but this whole feud with Jimmy Uso is taking him Jay Uso is taking him to another level as far as heel work. So let's go, Roman.
Oh, well, we'll talk about that when we talk about SmackDown. I can't wait to talk about that actually.
Well, we'll get there.
But no, yeah, you're right. You're right. That should be how heels are created, or at least it should take that much time to create a heel. This was a little too abrupt, and it's not. Just not too good for me. But I really respect Candice as a worker, so I'm happy to see her getting that title shot, if I'm being honest.
I'll say, but it's hilarious. It's like they have certain people that the way that they run it is like just one day they wake up mad. Like that's pretty much how the storyline goes. Like they were a good-hearted person, and then one day they just woke up mad, and it was I'm hurting everybody.
Exactly. What's the joke I always say, bro? I'm not Dean Ambrose now. I'm Mean Ambrose now. Like when I can name them all really, like Io Shirai, Candice LeRae, Bayley, Dakota Kai, Dean Ambrose. Some of my favorite wrestlers in the world. How did they turn heel? They just sort of woke up one day and was like, "Oh fuck! I just want to turn on all my friends now," and that was it. There was like no context, especially to Io Shirai, bro. But
she just went home, dyed her hair black, and was like, "I'm bad."
Add the pianos to my theme, Hunter.
Man, like, but but what's funny is that we can mock the transfer, but all of these guys are great in-ring performers who give us hell of matches, or who give us amazing matches almost every time that they step in the ring, regardless of who they step in the ring with.
Yeah, exactly. That is no in any way at all a jab at any of their work rates, because all of those people I named are some of the best working people of the last 5 years, without a fucking doubt. Every last one of them. That being said, the next match up was what me and my little brother called Ciampa destroys the gay community.jpg in Ciampa versus Atlas. It's an on-running joke. Destroys the gay community.jpg because the next match was Jake Atlas versus Ciampa, and if you've been keeping along, you've seen them just beat the shit out of each other over the last month or so, and every single time Ciampa's just like, well, fuck, I should split this dude in half or something, and badly fucking injures him.
Oh my goodness. He kills him every time.
Every time. But it was pretty cool, though, because Jake Atlas this time actually got a lot of really cool, aggressive offense in. And it was really cool to see that, with Ciampa still coming back and planting his fucking neck into the mat with a DDT. Overall good match. Some good shit. And I actually really like the ongoing story of Jake Atlas being fucking squished like a Coke can by Ciampa.
They need to build Ciampa. They do need to build Ciampa back up, because they did kind of squash that monster Ciampa, look or personality that he had. So they do kind of need to build that back up. And Atlas is a worker that can give them great matches, but at the same time help Ciampa build up that look as a monster heel, so to speak.
Yeah, the cost of getting Karrion Kross to where he was now was definitely that big win over Ciampa that we had seen at TakeOver in Your House, which I'm never going to fucking let go, because that should have been a great match.
Yeah.
That being said, yeah, you're right. This is a good way to build up the momentum of Ciampa again, because he lost all of that in that moment. And so it's also, in my opinion, a good way to build up the both of them. Out of all of this, Jake Atlas has come out getting eaten alive every single time, but each time he gets a little bit more and more offense in, so he's starting to look like a genuine threat, not to someone like Ciampa, but he's showing some grit and some character, and that's better than nothing. And so they're both coming off actually looking pretty strong, in my opinion.
And I like the way they do that sometimes, and that's the way I think it does need to be played from time to time. Is that you need to let both people come out looking strong. Especially if you have two strong personalities. A la, Drew McIntyre and Keith Lee. We'll get to that later, though.
Yeah, but it's the notion that it's important that both sides come out strong.
Right. So, what was next up?
Good shit, though.
No.
I feel it. But up next was this little, the whole gimmick was that they went backstage and Fandango, his crazy ass, was sitting there dressed up as Sherlock Holmes, and they were all him, and it gets better. Him, Fabian Eichner of Imperium, Raul Mendoza of Legado del Fantasma, and Danny Burch and Oney Lorcan, and then Roderick Strong of the Undisputed Era. So basically, one member of each of those tag teams was in there. And William Regal was like, y'all, you all want to compete? How the fuck is this going to work? And Fandango, is in his infinite knowledge, was like, what if we take a member from each and put them against each other? And that it was a little bit more flipped than that, because it actually was Roderick Strong teaming with Danny Burch against Fabian Eichner teaming with Raul Mendoza. So it was this big Frankenstein tag team match that saw a bunch of in and out little angles. Danny Burch kept extending his hand out to Roderick Strong, and Roderick Strong was always like, yeah, no, fuck you. And then you see Fabian Eichner's whole big chested Imperium gimmick clashing with Raul Mendoza, who is this slick back Mexican homie sort of gimmick.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of clashing characters, and it was actually a really solid match, but a pretty little entertaining idea.
I can see that working. Hell yeah.
Mm-hmm. We had, next up, we had Damian Priest, the current North American champion, going up against Austin Theory, who has returned to NXT. I love seeing Austin Theory work, and I don't know about you, but personally, go for it. Personally, for me, Austin Theory is someone that I look at, and I see a lot of a future in him. Like, I see people like EC3 and Randy Orton, and I think of them as people like, if you were to look at wrestling and you were to make a human being out of clay that was perfect for wrestling, EC3 and Randy Orton are some of those model characters that I feel like were just made for this. And Austin Theory, for me, gives off that same vibe. He just has future written all over him, and they're very well aware of that, and that's how they've been writing him. Going up against Damian Priest, who is built to be really fucking strong right now, and he's continuously being built like this womanizing, almost like douchebaggy jackass. But it's actually pretty funny because he finishes every single interview with, like, hey, come to the after party. That's all the females. It's a funny little fucking gag. I'll admit that. Let's see. All right. Next up, we had Ridge Holland coming around for his second match, going up against a random fucking jobber that I can't even tell you the name of, if I'm being honest. The jobber, I do remember, managed to get just a little bit of offense in, but for the most part, Ridge Holland, the big rugby-playing hoss, flattened him with a few overhead suplexes and a Michinoku driver, which I forget the name of, if I'm being honest.
The Michinoku driver. I think that's what they call it, because I believe that's what the move is called when you use it on WWE 2K. It's called the Michinoku driver. I think at least in WWE they've officially changed it to that name.
Oh no, he has his version has a special name. The maneuver is most definitely the Michinoku driver, but he has his own special name for it. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, and then coming up on the main event, which was what I like to call Alpha's wet fucking dream, because it was a match. It was a gauntlet match, which is already pretty cool. It was the first gauntlet match in NXT history. But the winner of it would be the one to be challenging Finn Balor at the next TakeOver.
Nice.
And all of the people in the match went as follows: Kushida, Kyle O'Reilly, Bronson Reed, and then Timothy Thatcher is, I believe, the final person. Oh yeah, sorry, no. Yes, it was all of those people and Cameron Grimes. So first it started with Kushida and O'Reilly coming out.
Okay.
They had a pretty solid little scrap for a while, moving in and out of each other, because Kushida and O'Reilly, as everyone knows, are both people who have pretty fucking extensive MMA experience.
Yeah.
Right after the fact, we had Bronson Reed, who is the exact fucking opposite of that, come in. Big boy Bronson Reed comes in, and for the first time in, like, I wouldn't say for the first time, but probably for the first time in a while, because of how WWE runs gauntlet matches, all three of these people came out before anyone was eliminated through the gauntlet match.
Oh, it was a gauntlet elimination match?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which was pretty fucking cool.
Normally you have at least one elimination by the time person number 3 hits the floor.
Exactly. Usually you have that other person in, but no, at this point the third person comes in and they're just loading people in like a Royal Rumble, basically. But at that point it's just an elimination match, which is pretty fucking cool in my opinion.
Yeah.
In the big shuffle of O'Reilly, Kushida, and Bronson Reed fighting each other, the man, the myth, the legend, the icon, Velveteen Dream comes out. And to give Kushida a little bit of payback for what Kushida did last week when he interfered in his match, he comes in and Dreams Valley Driver Kushida into the next fucking dimension.
Nice.
Kushida fucking flattened. Bronson Reed takes that pin, and Kushida is the first one out. After the fact, we ended up with Cameron Grimes coming.
Okay.
And then after Cameron Grimes, we ended up with the final person, Thatcher. And at that point, it literally came down to an elimination fatal four-way at that point, because it was O'Reilly, Bronson Reed, Thatcher, and Grimes.
Yeah.
All 5 of the people that I've mentioned here have been on Alpha's Wrestler of the Week. So as you can imagine, I was sitting there frothing out the fucking mouth, just sitting there like, oh, any of you win this, I'm through the fucking moon. But I did have one person penned in that I really wanted to win. Eventually, it came down only to... It came down to O'Reilly and Grimes, I remember. With Grimes having a really, really strong showing for a lot of the match. Grimes going for the diving foot stomp that he goes for over and over again. O'Reilly catches him, and I believe he made him tap out. With Kyle O'Reilly being the one to challenge Finn Balor for the NXT Championship.
Now you're talking.
Yeah, no, I have watched O'Reilly extensively in Japan, in Ring of Honor, in fucking everywhere. So I am through the fucking moon to see Kyle O'Reilly getting this fucking shot. I am fucking ecstatic. And there was a lot of really cool little peaks of this in the match. Of course, because he was number 1, he fought like 50 fucking minutes straight without end. And there was multiple like cool little angles. Like midway through the match, Cameron Grimes just slaps the shit out of Kyle, and he's like, "You'll never be Adam Cole."
Damn. Damn.
Yeah.
That's kind of cold, dog.
Yeah.
Like, why you gotta bring Adam into this?
Yeah, there was a bunch of really cool little angles like that, and it's always cool to finally see someone of the Undisputed Era actually be pushed, not as like a full-blown face, but as someone who can win out of sheer grit rather than using each other as leverage.
Yeah.
So, in my opinion, the show was really fucking good. There was a lot of really, really, really solid ring action to keep your eyes away from the crowd, most definitely. The absence of a crowd, I should say.
Yeah.
The main event, I especially recommend to anyone because it was a really fucking solid match. And for the first ever gauntlet match in NXT history, it was a damn good one.
They have a tendency to do that with first evers. All right. So that was NXT. Now, let's talk a little bit about Raw. That saw the biggest thing that came out of Raw was we know that this match between Randy Orton and Drew McIntyre is about to be off the hook.
Absolutely.
But the work that they've been doing the past few weeks on Raw has been amazing as far as story building. But let's get to the debut of Retribution.
Oh boy.
We've got T-Bar, Slapjack, and what's the other guy's name?
Fucking Mace.
And Mace. That's Dio Madden, Dominic Dijakovic, and what's believed to be, or is confirmed to be, Shane Thorne. And then now I've heard rumors. It has not been confirmed yet.
Did you throw out the women?
No, I've heard. That's what I was going to say. I've heard rumors that it has not been confirmed on TV yet what their names are. But their names. It's Mia Yim and
Mercedes
Martinez, and they're called Retaliation and Retribution. Or no, was it Retaliation and I forgot what the other one was.
God.
But yeah,
Retaliate.
Not exactly the best names.
Yeah, tell me your thoughts first.
Not exactly the best names, but I can live with it. I can live with what I'm seeing. I can live with the look. I can live with the names. As long as they actually do something. As long as they don't end up becoming another jobber group. As long as they actually do something, have some of them lead to titles, have this storyline go somewhere. Don't just all of a sudden drop it one day. As long as they do that, I like what I've seen so far. What are your thoughts, sir?
See, I'm a big supporter of the idea that wrestling is made special by its characters, which should be a given, right?
Yeah.
wrestling, of course, should rely on its physicality to tell the story. But because this is wrestling, you should be able to care more about why two guys are fighting versus how they're fighting, right? And in terms of presentation, look, name, and entrance are the three pillars, right? I'm confused as to if Retribution has any of those three things. I like the idea of Retribution. I like the idea, the premise that they came from the Black Friday firings and that they are the consequences to the system of the Black Friday firing. I like that idea a lot, actually. I'm really into that.
Yeah.
However, who came up with the name Slapjack?
No, go ahead. I understand what you're saying.
Like I can do Mace. Dio Madden becoming Mace isn't too bad.
Yeah.
I'd say that's the least of the problem, because Dio Madden is in a very interesting position with this, because this is the first time we're going to see Dio Madden portray someone other than Dio Madden.
Right.
In the way that Dijakovic, Mia Yim, Mercedes Martinez, and Shane Thorne have all established indie careers and have done a lot of things in different places.
Yeah.
Some of them more than others, some of them a lot less. But Dio Madden is homegrown talent. Dio Madden was trained 100% within the Performance Center, I believe.
Yes.
So he specifically is in a very, very interesting position in my eyes. So I'm curious to see where he will go, and I'm also curious to see if any of them is the leader, or if someone who is much more established is going to be the leader, which I would personally be much more for.
Yeah. I wouldn't mind seeing like The Miz or somebody like that be basically like, you know, their on-screen representative to an extent.
Yeah, like their ringleader. That's what I would say. I would like that.
Well, let me ask you this. There are some out there that have said that it's the worst debut for a group since the Shockmaster or one of those bad the Gobbledygooker. Debuts like that. I don't know exactly. I don't know if I'd say that it was that bad of a debut. Like, yeah, it wasn't exactly the best, and you're kind of there are hauntingly similar things to making it feel like you're trying to make it kind of like a Shield thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because remember, when the Shield first debuted, they came out with masks on and attacked people.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And the turtleneck jackets and shit. I remember, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like it didn't feel original to me, but I also don't see any issues with it that made it that bad for people to say that.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I'm not going to sit here and tell you this is Gobbledygooker Shockmaster levels of debut. I'll give you that.
Yeah. And that's
that being said, though. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No. You're 100% correct. Like I wouldn't put it on that level. I would say it wasn't the best debut ever. It wasn't Y2J, but it wasn't that bad. So
yeah, I think my problem comes with this. I think if I'm being honest, if they had a slightly switched out look. I'm not sure where, but maybe closer in the direction of something less Joker lackey and more legitimately intimidating, I'd be with that. But I think my main problem comes with the fact, honestly, that Mercedes Martinez and Dijakovic are in it. Not because I like those people more than I like the other people in it, but because I feel like, one, Mercedes Martinez already had a really good fucking character and a really good lineup, and there was a lot of things they could have done with that character in and of itself.
Yeah.
And I feel like they've spent the last year and a half building up Dijakovic as his own character, and Dijakovic as his own very specific and actually very fucking good entity. they've built up Dijakovic as a damn good character over the past year and a half. And it sort of just feels like they looked around at NXT and they're like, all right, who's the tallest motherfucker here? And who's not Keith Lee?
Yeah, pretty much.
And who can we stuff there? I wish they could have chosen someone different in exchange for Dijakovic, and I think I would be a little more for this, because then cohesively he would fit a lot better. Because Shane Thorne, remember the whole idea that they're running with this, with Shane Thorne being here, is that Shane Thorne being split from TM61 has nowhere to go and has done nothing and has just eaten losses at NXT over the past few months.
Yeah.
Mia Yim the same way, being put down the hole by Bianca Belair, by Io Shirai, by most of the main people in NXT's card. Mercedes Martinez, on the other hand, was built extremely strong and already had a good story going, and the same with Dijakovic.
Yep.
And the name T-Bar isn't the worst, but I'm not going to say it's the most intimidating wrestling name either.
Exactly. Well, here's the thing about it. And here's where I would go differently with, I would have went just a slight bit differently with how I did it. Now, I know, this is called fantasy booking, guys. I know that Adam Cole and all of them boys want to stay in NXT. But I think that Retribution would have been a funner stable had you had Retribution turn out to be the Undisputed Era with two extra female members making their main roster debut.
I'm not going to lie, I would have actually legitimately paid to see that.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that would have marked me out right there. If you give me Adam Cole, they come out in the thing, they beat everybody down, and then all of a sudden they rip off the mask and it's Adam Cole, and now they come out as Undisputed Era. You know, now you drop the whole Retribution thing, and they come out as Undisputed Era. And then now you have an exact whatchamacallit that you can run up against who is it? Hurt Business.
Oh fuck yeah!
You know, with that whole feud with
that writes itself. Damn it.
Yep. You know, and Adam Cole can match. I believe Adam Cole can match MVP as far as on the mic. Yeah, most definitely. You know, I didn't know that was a promo that I needed to see until now. You know, and what's funny is a lot of those younger guys, a lot of the back and forth would have been great from it, but you also have the instant popularity of whatchamacallit, and then like you said, you don't waste two great characters like Dijakovic and Mia Yim. Or I wasn't always over on the Mia Yim character, but she had put some time in developing her character, and you know, Mercedes Martinez. You don't take these characters and turn them into something that they're not, and you've got now 3 or 4. Now Dio Madden, maybe you throw him in as a fifth guy on the Hurt Business's side. Like, I hate to do that, take another, half black dude and just throw him
switch around like that
with the dudes. But think about it.
No, I was going to say the same thing, though. I was going to say, honestly, if it were my choice, Dio Madden should have been in Hurt Business from day one.
Yeah. And so because of that, I'm like, that just would have been a little bit better of a way to do that. And you still, to be honest with you, you still could have used Mercedes Martinez and Mia Yim. You just now make them a part of the Undisputed Era.
You know what would have been fucking dope? They could have easily, because Mercedes Martinez was on the Robert Stone brand right before this. Like they could have alluded to her being bought out by another business or something, and then it'd be completely ambiguous. Like you could have, if you absolutely even wanted, you could have even still used Shane Thorne because he had nowhere, and even if like in my opinion, if you absolutely need me to choose someone instead of Dijakovic, Killian Dane would have been fucking great.
Mm-hmm. He's already been seen on the main roster with Sanity, but so he's already kind of known to the main roster crowd.
Mm-hmm.
But see now, and also once again, I go back to my main issue my main thing about it is needing the mouthpiece, because I'm sorry, unfortunately, none of them are really super good on the mic.
Yeah.
You know, none of them make me feel it. So I think giving it to Undisputed Era, or at minimum, like you said, giving them a main roster mouthpiece.
Mm-hmm. You know what? Actually, you know what I think would be a good ass idea?
What's that?
Ciampa.
Yeah.
I think Ciampa would be a great fucking ringleader.
Oh yeah.
And if I'm being honest, if they could have ran with that idea leading into Survivor Series, I would have been really cool with that.
Oh yeah, that would have made it. But we got what we got, and Retribution is here. So let's get on to what you wanted to talk about a little earlier, so we can get on to this pay-per-view, and that is the ending of SmackDown Live. Which, by the way, it was one of the better episodes of SmackDown Live. I love what they're doing with Alexa Bliss. I love the little like I said, not only is she going back to the Harley Quinn look, but now she has this whole freak out thing going on with from her time with the from her time with the Fiend. So yeah.
Did you wait? Hold up. Well, right before we get into that final part, I don't know if you saw, but like this whole thing that Alexa's being like possessed by this force after being touched by the Fiend.
Yeah.
I hate when people say that the Fiend is possessing her. It's like, no, it's again, we've talked about this before. It's the whole idea that Sister Abigail and the cult of Wyatt, the Fireflies, and it all represents like eldritch knowledge. What is the ongoing theme of all Lovecraftian horrors?
Yes.
It's the fact that human beings were never ever supposed to find this knowledge.
Yep.
That human beings mentally cannot comprehend this knowledge. And so when they find that knowledge that was meant for gods and gods only, and they learn this knowledge, the human brain splits like a fucking atom and they go insane.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I like the gimmick of what's going on here, because it's like Alexa has officially, she's seen the light, she's seen that unseen knowledge, and you can't unknow the knowledge. So now it's breaking her mind, and she's becoming one with the cult of Wyatt and the spirit of the Fiend. But it was really fucking cool when on her way walking out, when Roman is coming out. Of course, you're like, what the fuck is this? Why they're coming out midway through? She's not even out yet. But it's because when Roman comes out and lifts up the title, you see Alexa turn around and stare bullet holes through that fucking title.
That was an amazing scene.
Yeah. Yeah, I liked that shot a lot.
Her just standing there with the frizzle, with the jacked up hair, and just looking at him like, if she could just,
soon.
Yes.
I liked that shot a lot. The cinematography again, that upper angle looking down at the belt, and her and Roman, with the lighting coming down on both of them was a fucking master stroke. I really dug that.
But yeah. But now let's get to that. So just to set it up, so Jey Uso had come out earlier, and if y'all saw SmackDown last week, then y'all know that at the end of SmackDown, Jey Uso like pretended like he was going to raise up the Universal Championship and then gave it back to Roman Reigns. He's being playful, and Roman kind of like laughed it off with him supposedly, or like looked like he was laughing it off with him. And then as soon as Jey turned his back, like Roman got real serious. Like, hey man, like don't even joke about this shit. You know what I'm saying? And people were talking about that and like, wow, dude, like, you know, I can't believe they did it and blah blah blah. And so they were like, Jey Uso came out looking for answers. Mm-hmm. After Jey Uso
good?
Yeah, I'm good. So then he comes out. Paul Heyman comes up on the screen after Jey Uso asks what's going on. Paul Heyman comes out on the screen and says that Roman Reigns will answer Jey Uso's question, but he'll do it when he feels like it. So fast forward to the closing segment of the show. Roman comes out. Jey comes out. Roman basically looks Jey Uso in the eye and tells him, like, this will never be you. Like, just let it go, bro. Like I'm supposed to be the chief. I'm the big dog. Like, it'll never be you. Like, just just enjoy your run as a tag team. Take this ass whipping like you're supposed to. And then for the scene to end all scenes, Roman Roman drops Jey Uso with a Superman punch that Jey Uso sells the fucking hell out of.
Oh no! Wait! You forgot that this was after the promo when they did their promo and they talked their shit. And
Yeah.
Jay was like, "What if I'm the man? What if it was meant to be me all along and it wasn't you?"
Yeah.
And then Roman storms off and goes to the back. And Jay's like, "All right, fine, promo's over." So he starts to walk back. And just as he's about to go through the curtain and he's at the top of the ramp, then Roman darts the fuck out like a bat from hell and Superman punches his fucking jaw off.
And again, Jey Uso sells the hell out of that Superman punch. I mean, just doesn't move for the rest of the show. Doesn't twitch. Doesn't move an arm. Nothing.
Deaded.
Yep. As Roman proceeds to hold his head and look at him and tell him this was never meant for you. Never. This is always gonna be mine. You gonna take this ass whipping on Sunday and you gonna like it. I'm like, damn, Roman, not like it.
Yeah, no, he's just sitting there screaming like, "You will never be here. This will never be yours. You are not it." And the intensity of Roman just screaming while his veins look like they're about to fucking explode.
He straight up said,
That's what I like to see.
He said this championship feeds me, feeds your kids, feeds the whole damn family. I was like, damn, bro. Like that's too deep for me. Like y'all cutting wow. But yeah, I can't wait to see the match tonight. I think it should be amazing. What else?
One of those instances where like a lot of the times there is really good wrestling, but I feel like a lot of the times the best wrestling is when they let just like a little bit of that real life shit just drizzle in, let it bleed into the story a little bit, and that's what they're doing here. And this shit is intense and 100% believable. I'm someone who loves to see new people in the title scene, so I'm through the moon to actually see this fight.
And also, this whole Clash of Champions pay-per-view should be on your list, being that we've got a lot of new challengers. And we open up the pre-show, or we open up the show with the pre-show. Every title in WWE will be defended tonight. Everything except for probably a 24/7 championship. I'm pretty sure somebody else will probably sneak in and steal that from whoever got it right now before the show's over. But Asuka kicks off the pre-show taking on Zelina Vega. Man, talk about your new blood. She decided to separate herself from Angel Garcia and Andrade.
Angel Garza and Andrade.
Garza and Andrade, who have a title match tonight. And she decided to go slap Asuka, which just for future reference, ladies, I would never recommend going and slapping Asuka unless you just don't plan on living for much longer. I don't know. Like my last impression of Zelina Vega wrestling was her playing AJ Lee in Fighting With My Family. Like that was my last impression of her as a wrestler. So
she's had a few matches in and out over the last year. If I'm being honest, if you're looking like for her really good matches in terms of physicality, she had a lot of really good matches in Impact actually when she was there.
Okay.
She wrestled a good bit there, and she had a lot of really good physical matches in my opinion. But she had a lot of really good physical showings on NXT too in her little in matches when she was with Andrade in NXT. She had a lot of in moments, which was really dope.
Okay.
But yeah, this is the first time she's ever gotten any chance like this on the main roster, really.
Yeah, but I can't wait to see what she's gonna give us. Said Asuka's a good worker, and Zelina Vega could be one as well. We'll see.
Yeah, of course. Let's see what's up next.
All right, so next up, and this is in no particular order, we'll start with let's start with the United States Championship match between Bobby Lashley and the Hurt Business and Apollo Crews, probably with Ricochet by his side.
Mm.
So why don't you give us your thoughts and prediction on that one?
Wait, sorry, hold up. My tech is messing up. Sorry. Lashley versus Crews, right?
Yeah.
I'm really hoping that this is going to come off with Apollo at least looking strong, but I'm confident that Lashley's going to walk out with the dub. They're pushing her business pretty consistently. The usual 50-50 booking doesn't seem to be going along with this. And if it means that we have a consistently strong-looking team or member of a team, then fuck it, I'm happy. I'm pretty sure Lashley's going to come out with the fat dub here.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure as well. Like, there's nothing in me that says that it should go any other way other than Lashley. Apollo Crews had his nice run as United States champion, and I wouldn't mind seeing him win it again later. But I think at this point, it's pretty much a lock. It's too soon for Lashley to lose that title. So I see Lashley retaining there. Let's move on to the Women's Tag Team Championships with Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler taking on the Riot Squad. Read an interesting article the other day that actually made a very good point for why it would actually be in the best interest of WWE to have Riot Squad win this match. They have been booked strong before being split up, and they are starting to look like a similar type of tag team again. And I think it would be a good thing for them, whereas Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler definitely do better as singles competitors, and it's time for that feud to blow up. But an argument could be made the exact same way that I just made for Bobby Lashley, that it's just too soon to take the strap off of him. But we'll see. My prediction is that they retain, by the way.
Yeah. Although I do think writing-wise it would be much more compelling to see the Riot Squad come out of this because they have much more history and much more depth as a team over time. But it would probably be best to make sure Nia and Shayna look strong because they are building both of them together. So I am going to say that they are going to retain. Let's see. You good? Okay. Personally, the writing is on the wall, and it has been for just a little bit now. As much as I do love the Lucha House Party in more ways than one, they have been doing these little seeds that they're going to be breaking up over time now, and it's only getting more and more intense. With, I believe, on SmackDown, there was a moment where they got pissed off at each other and one pushed or slapped the other. So I am anticipating that Cesaro and Shinsuke are going to capitalize on that and run with the idea that they're going to pick apart the team that's falling apart and retain their tag team championships over the Lucha House Party.
Hello?
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, sorry,
right.
I'm back. But yeah, so we did Cesaro and Nakamura. And what was your prediction, sir?
I believe that Cesaro and Nakamura are going to walk out with the win because for the most part, the Lucha House Party has seemed to be building up to them breaking up over time now. I think the writing is on the wall here that if they're not going to be coming apart here, there's going to be more reason to them coming apart tonight.
Right,
so I think Cesaro and Shinsuke are going to pick them apart and pick apart the falling tag team and retain.
And I'm going to agree with you 100% for two reasons. The first being that that I just, once again, I see them leading more towards a breakup between those two than I do them leading towards a tag team championship reign. But also because of the fact that I heard from a little birdie somewhere that WWE may be planning to, because of the size of the tag team division right now, may be planning on combining the SmackDown and Raw tag team championships to give us one tag team championship across both shows.
Really? Huh.
Yeah. So that's why I think that, and I think Cesaro and Shinsuke Nakamura are going to be the team to defend the SmackDown titles when that match comes up.
Yeah, I can definitely see that.
So
That's not a bad prediction at all.
Let's see. But let me see. All right, so next match after that, let's jump over to the Raw Tag Team Championships with Street Profits taking on Andrade and Angel Garza.
As much as I hate to say it, it's the same way here. Angel Garza and Andrade have been teasing this break apart over the past month and a half now.
Yep.
And whereas on the other hand, the Street Profits have been pushed extremely strongly and have been looking really good over the past 6 months now. They've been champions for almost a year now, right?
Damn near, yeah. You think they're going to take them fully on out to that year point?
Yeah, I think they will. I don't think Angel Garza and Andrade are going to be able to take that from them at all. So I'd say they're going to retain here, no doubt.
For sure. And I could see why you would say that, and I would agree. There's a small thing in the pit of my stomach that says that Garza and whatchamacallit might win, but I don't necessarily think it's going to happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Let's see. All right. So next up, we've got, let's see, Bayley and Nikki Cross.
Oh, right. I forgot they've been building towards it. All right. What do you think? What do you think's going to happen here?
I see Bayley retaining because I have this weird feeling that Bayley's going to hit her full year, and then who is it? Bayley's going to hit her full year, and then Sasha Banks is going to end up taking the title from her. I think that Sasha Banks is going to end up taking the title from her, probably at Survivor Series. But
I can most definitely see that.
So I see Bayley retaining, but I think that Alexa Bliss may end up factoring into this match. But we'll see. I think there's a feud ahead with her and Nikki Cross.
Yeah, I don't think Nikki Cross is going to be the one to take it off here. Yeah. I think they're definitely building to Bayley versus Sasha. If not at Survivor Series, if not at Rumble, then at Mania.
At Mania, giving us a few months. I could see that. Okay, yeah. So let's see. Next up, we have what I think is going to be the show stealer, the showstopper, the main event without being the main event, and that's the Intercontinental title ladder match between Jeff Hardy, AJ Styles, and Sami Zayn.
Yeah. All around, I think everyone should keep an eye on this match. I think this match is going to steal the show.
100%. Like there's no reason why these three gentlemen cannot bring the house down.
But who's going to walk out champion?
I'm going to say Jeff Hardy is going to technically
you're calling Hardy?
retain. Yeah, technically he would be retaining, but
yeah.
Yeah.
You think so?
Yeah. Who do you got winning it?
I'm calling Styles.
The phenomenal one, huh? Gets his title back.
Calling Styles.
2-time Intercontinental Champion, huh?
They're pushing Styles really well into the IC division as of late. And I think this is going to be that big solidifying moment for him. I think Jeff Hardy has a really good chance, but I think AJ has just that little sliver of a chance more. So I'm going to run with that.
All right. And now for the two big main events, the last two whatchamacallits for the night. We'll start with Randy Orton versus Drew McIntyre.
I'll go first this time.
Yeah,
I'll
you
go first
go
this
first.
time. So I want to say that I want to say really quick too. The title reign of Drew McIntyre has been fucking impeccable. It has been amazing in so many ways, and I love having a champion that's legitimately as good as this, considering we haven't the best world champions over the past 3 or 4 years. I'm not going to get too much into that. I'll do that next time because we're definitely running out of time. But I really appreciate Drew McIntyre as a champion, and I think he's going to retain. I don't think this is going to be number 14 for Randy Orton just yet.
All right. So you think that Drew McIntyre will retain?
Yeah.
It's an ambulance match, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to say that Drew McIntyre is going to retain. I'll stick with you. But there's a part of me that so badly wants to say that Randy Orton is going to win because I think, but here's what I think. What I think is actually going to happen is Orton is going to be very close to winning, and then Edge is going to come out of nowhere and spear him.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
And then that's how McIntyre is going to end up retaining.
I can see that with some Edge interference.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I see that.
All right. So that's that.
See, for the next match, though, for the main event of Roman versus Jay, I'm sure we all know Roman's going to walk out as champion. But I just, before we go off, because we don't have a lot of time, how do you think it's going to happen? Like, what kind of match do you think this is going to be?
I think this is going to be a beatdown. I think this is where Roman Reigns, I think the way they're going to mega make him a heel is they're going to separate him from the family, so to speak, from the on-screen family, and this is going to be that separation.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I think that this is where that separation is going to be. It's because he's going to beat up. It's not going to be the win that ends up getting him in that position. It's going to be the fact that that he's going to beat down on Jimmy after the match.
Yeah, I think this is going to be something that ends in brutal fashion.
Yeah. So, but that's it, my friend. That's them all.
All right. We got to call it here.
We got to call it here. So Clash of Champions is just about to begin. By the time y'all hear this, it'll be in full swing. So I hope you guys enjoy listening to us afterwards, seeing if our projections were correct. Be sure to keep listening into 480 Presents Network today. We should have an episode of Now Versus Then coming on later on tonight. And be sure to go back and listen. Brick House, Inspire Radio on Sundays, Mondays, Dirty Talk 101. Tuesdays, we haven't filled in yet. Wednesdays is Kelly Kell with Kings and Queens of Porn and Lip Gloss and Mics. And then Thursday is Miss Toy with Lovely Radio. And then Friday comes to me, where I'm doing the hits from 1993. So check me out on Friday night on KD5P. And we will... Then that brings us back to Saturday's Mr. Deacon Experience. And then Sunday with Back With Us and Brick and Inspire and Now Versus Then. So keep listening, y'all. Thank you for listening today. Any last words for him, Alpha?
Oh, you know how it goes, my people. We'll be back once again next weekend for some more wrestling, some more this and that, some video games and movies. Be safe, my people. Peace.